Hello, friends. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got two insane decks for you. We've got three insane decks for you, but like two that have completely stupid win rates. The first is an 83% win rate Loki deck. It's a Loki X-Men list. It's been playing through the roof. I just took it through Conquest and got myself an Infinity ticket. It's a sick list. We also have an 100% win rate Lamby. It's only 18-0, but like 14 of those are Conquest. I was watching Lamby. I was on his stream, and he was like, I don't think this deck is good. I don't think this deck is good. And then he just kept winning. It's a Cannonball junk deck. We've also got ParryMailow's discard deck. It's one of my favorite discard decks. And a review of both of the new bundles in the shop. So let's get started with our first deck. This is Finn Snap's Loki. Finn Snap is currently the number 9-ish ranked player. I actually haven't checked in the past couple hours, but the number 9-ish ranked player went 24-5 with this Loki deck. This is based on Safety's X-Men deck, but it's not doing the safety thing. It's basically its own build. It adds Cull Obsidian and it adds Mirage to the deck in place of whatever two other cards. It can do the X-Men thing with Kitty Pryde, Hope Summers, Mirage, Cable, but it doesn't need to. What it really wants to do is basically shut off what your opponent is doing, put a lot of cheap big power on, steal their cards. You have extra power from Elsa, extra energy from Hope. You're stopping their stuff with Mobius, and then you go to frickin' town. This deck is wildly good. You can find Finn at twitter.com/FinnSnap8. Again, this is a top 10 player who shares a ton of awesome decks all the time, worth the follow on Twitter. This is 24-5 with an 83% win rate. And what's really impressive about that to me is this is the top 10 Infinite, currently number 9 when I pulled the stats, which is just wild, right? Like 83% in the top 10 of Infinite means that this is an absolutely real deck. Is this as good as Thanos? No, nothing is as good as Thanos right now. Thanos is, and I'm going to keep saying this until they fix it, broken and stupid. Is this the second best deck in the game? It's arguable. I think it's this type of Loki or discard. The discard beats the Loki, but the Loki beats more other things. So your mileage may vary. So Loki, Hope, Kitty, and Elsa are must for this list. Rogue can replace Mobius. Shang-Chi can replace Cull. Mirage is a Series 4 card, and I totally forgot. That is always fine as Sentinel as well. Mockingbird can be Dino. That's the real place you start losing value, because a cheap Mockingbird very often is like a 3-9 in this deck, and a 3-9 is just great stats. Snowguard can be Nico or Agent 13. Again, losing Snowguard hurts a lot. On my way to my Infinity ticket, I killed a Limbo with the Snowguard bird, right? Like, it's a really powerful effect that can often win games. All right, so this is a very proactive Loki. It's only got Mobius as far as tech, and Mobius is relatively proactive tech. You play it to stop your opponent doing things. You don't play it in response to your opponent doing things. So turn 1, Kitty or Quinjet. Turn 2, I usually play 2 1s over Cable, and Cable's more or less equal to Mirage. I'd rather play Cable before Mirage most of the time, but sometimes they're playing like a Kitty or a Deadpool, and I feel like I can Mirage that off. Turn 3, I like Hope better than Elsa usually, and those are usually better than Mobius. If they dropped a Zabu, your math here changes, right? If they're playing clearly a Tribunal deck, your math changes, etc. Turn 4, Loki if you can. If not, Cull, or you do one of your turn 3 plays. Once in a while, you will drop Mockingbird here. Turn 5 is the same as turn 4, and then if you can on turn 6, you want to play Mockingbird with as many other cards as you can. And that's the list. It's really simple and really powerful and worth checking out. I strongly urge you to play this list. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Loki is very matchup dependent. How and when and why you Loki is matchup dependent, so that is going to take practice. But once you get the hang of when to Loki and when to just sort of say, no, I think I can win with Kitty, Elsa, Hope nonsense, or this, I need to get out this Cull or Mockingbird before I Loki versus after, is going to take practice. Once you get it, though, this is insanely powerful. Please hit that sub button, hit that like, hit that comment. I'd really appreciate it. We're at 9,600 subs. We're 400 away from 10,000. Please help us get there. We bring you 7 days of videos every week. Every single day comes with a brand new Marvel Snap video. Each one has at least 3 new decks. I get the top of the meta decks. I get the best decks that no one else gets to you fairly regularly. So if you're checking out this channel, you get to stay ahead of the meta, and we cover all the bundles and everything else you could possibly need for your Marvel Snap journey. So please hit that sub button, hit that like, hit that comment, help spread the word. If you can watch the video for a reasonable amount of time too, it does really help us. All right. Has a Banana asks about the 3 Thors package with less Annihilus and Dark Caustic around. So I don't think there should be less Annihilus. I think Annihilus is still one of the 5 most powerful things to do in the game. I think the Thors is probably somewhere around 10. Thors is very good, but it just requires you to hit really well, right? Like, if you draw Annihilus on 6, you still have a reasonable chance of winning. If you draw Jane Foster on 6, you're just sad. I like the Thor's deck a lot. I really like the Pixie Thor's decks, but Mobius is in every Thanos list. It's in that Loki list. It's all over the place, and you still don't really go over the top at discard. So while I like it a lot, I don't love it. I think it is not quite there yet. I think Annihilus is still better, and Darkhawk really sort of goes with the Annihilus right now. That's the only place I've actually played Darkhawk. So Darkhawk in that Annihilus Ika shell is where I like it. The deck I hit Infinite with this season, but maybe there's something else I don't actually know for Darkhawk. Darkhawk needs more testing. Thanos is so good right now, it's really hard to get like an accurate read on things under Thanos because they have to be teched for Thanos, which means that they're not teched for each other, so it's a strange placement. Fan Thing wonders what comic creators I can recommend, and Kieran Gillen is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorites of all time. Everyone doesn't love Jonathan Hickman, but I absolutely love Jonathan Hickman's work. I love the Fantastic Four. I thought Time Runs Out, the Avengers run, was terrible in real time, and then when I went back and read it as a whole, I thought it was stellar. I am a House Powers of X Krakoa era X-Men fan. I really loved it. I think Hickman, I think Kieran Gillen are my big two right now as far as comic writers I really like. I also really like Ryan North. I'm sure there's an absolute crap ton more. I always liked Al Ewing back from his Ultimates style runs. And he's apparently still doing great work. I'm sure there's newer ones that are absolutely stellar. That is like literally the last generation of comic readers, but the last generation of comics is when I read everything, so I still remember those writers. Those are my favorites of like semi-modern writers. If you want to know about older writers, I mean, look, if you're going to read old X-Men, you read Claremont. Grant Morrison is unfreaking real. If they're a little weird, so be it, but unreal writer. Terrible human being, but I loved Warren Ellis growing up. There's a lot of amazing, amazing writers. You can do worse than reading just Sandman, Neil Gaiman. There's a lot of great stuff, and I know I'm suggesting like cliche classic stuff. I'm not trying to like look for deep dives, but if you want deep dives, let me know and I'll figure out some slightly deeper cuts for you, because I used to read everything. All right, Ash Booth asked for conquest changes I'd like. There's one big conquest change I'd like. Cool. The big conquest change I like is just get rid of Silver Conquest. You win Proving Ground, you go to Gold. You win Gold, you go to Infinity. Problem solved. Conquest just takes too long. It's got an extra layer to it that I don't need. Get rid of that extra layer, and Conquest I think would be fine. Leo Besson wants to know what to use keys and tokens on, and I'm not going to answer that here. I'm going to do a full video on that. Okay, so here's what this week looks like for me, just so everyone knows. It is Wednesday as of you watching this. This evening, my son's 8th birthday is tomorrow, so we're celebrating with my father, his grandfather, tonight. Then I've got to make sure that I get ready for tomorrow's video, and then like there's an OTA tomorrow, so that's going to take a bunch. So we'll see if tomorrow's a 2-video day, whatever happens. Then Thursday, we've got to celebrate his birthday, right? I also that night have the podcast, Snap Judgments podcast, and the video for Friday. Then Friday, it's my 10-year wedding anniversary, so I'm going to be hanging out with my wife. Then Saturday, for our anniversary with the kid for his birthday, we're going to Dominican Republic. So we're going to have a Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, because I've got to advance do the Tuesday video, right? So somewhere in there, I've got to find time to do the Tuesday video in advance. But Sunday, Monday, Wednesday are going to be other people's videos on the channel. Yeti and Gunny are going to cover some games on Sunday. I don't know what next Wednesday is going to be. We'll figure that out as we get there. Probably a Yeti video, maybe a Gunny video, whatever. I think what I'm likely to try and do, if I can figure out how to do it, if I can make time, is I'd like Monday to be that tier list video for what cards we should use our keys on. I very rarely do a video without a bunch of decks, but I feel like I can just stick one deck in it and then do this big tier list, and hopefully that'll hold you over for a day, and I'll be back by Thursday of next week for regular podcast stuff and all that other good stuff. Cool? We will not, again, as always, be missing any comments. If you'd like your questions read in tomorrow's video, leave them in the comments. If you're on the Patreon, there's a Patreon thread right now for questions. There will also be a Patreon thread for questions for the guests for tomorrow's podcast, so make sure you check that out. All right, this is the Lamby Cannonball. It was 9-0 when I started writing. I watched until he got to 17-0, and then I came to make the video because you heard how busy my life's going to be for the next week, right? So I had to get on that. I'll also have a Marvel Snap Zone article coming out either tomorrow or the next day. So, that too. That doesn't even touch the work stuff. It's a wild week. I really need that vacation. All right, so Lamby Cannonball. This deck is amazing. Cannonball is not a requirement, but he really does win games that are otherwise unwinnable sometimes. Whereas you can sort of hilariously let them fill the lane with Titania and then cannonball something and kill it, which is great if you're up by enough in a lane. Dr. Octopus also does a great job filling lanes. Debris is like the real secret MVP to this deck. Debris and Titania are like MVP level cards. Obviously, it's built around a Nihilus, but this is just very, very good. When I looked at it, I jumped on the stream, chatting with Lamby. I'm like, this doesn't have enough early play. There's no way Polaris shouldn't be a 2. But Polaris was so good because, like, they put 2 cards in lane, and all of a sudden you Debris, and then you can just choose to Polaris, and you've got a lane. And if you've got a lane locked and won, then Cannonball is completely freaking OP, right? You can Doc Ock and then Cannonball another location, guarantee yourself a destroy. Or you can Doc Ock, and if you still have priority, then Eliath wins you the game. So either way, it's really strong. And then, like, you just have super cheap Mockingbird because of this. It's all around just really strong. So, twitch.tv/Lamby Series TV. Lamby is the best player of all time in the game. I don't think he's the best right now in Marvel's Net, but he's the best of all time. You need a Nihilus and Eliath for this deck. Don't play without it. Enchantress, Mobius, or Jeff can replace Cannonball. You lose some cube equity for that, but hey, it's doable. All right. You see, it was 9-0, and then I came back at 14-0 and wrote this, and then I kept watching for 3 more games, and I was like, shit, I gotta go make a video. So that's how this happened. This also should have a really good match against Thanos, just for the record. So turn 1 to turn 2 Demon. Turn 3 Goblin is more or less equal to Debris, depends on the board, how they start to fill things up. And that's better than Polaris. Turn 4 Sentry and Mockingbird are generally better than Polaris, unless Polaris can get you that full thing. Turn 5 is then Nihilus. Once in a while, again, Dr. Octopus, if you haven't played Sentry or Hood. Doc Ock is obviously better. Turn 6, if you don't have priority, it's Cannonball or Shang and Titania. And if you do have priority, it's Eliath. I don't know why there's an or after Eliath. I don't know how to spell. I don't know how to type sometimes. Oh, because I was going to put Shang at the end, and then I moved it to the beginning. Cool, we understand. This is a really straightforward deck to play. Not easy to play, but much more straightforward than you would expect for a junk deck. And it's got very clear snap conditions, so you should be able to get 2 cube equity, if not 4, 8 cube equity, fairly freaking often. Also, just a quick note, I'm buying this Cannonball. It's a rare as soon as it shows up in my shop later today. So that's the Cannonball I put in the deck. This is the deck. It's, again, very good. Everything in it works towards one game plan. And it's really nice when decks do that. This isn't really a multi-package deck, although I guess it sort of is. Like, there's like a Cannonball package and a Nihilus package. And like the technical junk package. I guess there's a few packages here. I don't know. Cool. All right, we also have our Drewberry custom cards of the week. It was choice for Women's Month or the Women of Marvel. It was due on 3/18, which means people had about 5 days to make their cards. We have 2 winners. Our first is Longbones, who wins again. Longbones is a monster at this. I love this card. This is 2/4 on a villain next charge. You play it, each location returns to your hand. So you get 3 bounces for this, but that could easily backfire, right? Because if you don't want all 3, let's say like it's getting late and you're like, oh no, what do I do? Well, you're screwed. You have no answer. But this has such good synergy, specifically with bounce cards like Iceman, Hood, and Nico. It's also really good with Beast, Falcon, and Black Swan because you can use the cards that bounce the cards back to your hand, and then you can replay them, and then you get the bounce again, which is just freaking phenomenal. We've also got Beast, Falcon, we've also got Hope, Elsa, and Angela, who are getting multiple triggers from all of these things, which is just, again, absolutely amazing. One more thing I realized, this would be amazing with Destroy. You can do Venom, bounce Venom back, and then play Venom again, which is just like, oh my god. You could Shang, bounce Shang back and Shang again, but it's every lane, so you have to be careful if you're doing that kind of thing, not to completely screw yourself up. Love, love, love this idea in this card. Also, phenomenal art. This is really, really great Gwenpool art. She's got the little Jeff book bag thing going with an Iron Man mask in it, a Spider-Man mask, Captain America shield. It's gorgeous. And Longbones didn't stop there. Longbones even did 3 variants. There's actually 4, but these are the 3 that fit on the slide with a really cool background. I am personally partial to the little umbrella bicycle thing. The chibi is nice, but I'm not a big chibi fan, but hey, it's cool that we did a specific chibi. And then we've got this bazooka one for those of you who are more into that type of style. I would love if this Gwenpool came to the game. I don't think it breaks anything, and I think it allows for really cool plays. Plus, I love bounce. All right, we also have Voltron's Tigra. I don't think Voltron's won yet, so congrats on your first win, Voltron. Reminder that winners at the end of the month will be put into a pool and the one who is picked out of it will get a season pass. We have a 3/5 here, switch sides, then destroy a friendly card here. So it's a nice simple on reveal. It changes sides and it destroys a card. You're giving them a 3/5 in exchange, right? But it destroys a card there. So if they want to leave something really big and powerful in a lane alone, you can just say no thank you. But it could also destroy something like Zabu early, or a Mobius, or a Coulson, or a Mobius, or a Elsa Bloodstone. It's just great for that. It's also a big destroy synergy if it's in general good stuff, and it's not terrible in Surfer, because if your opponent fills that location and you end up keeping it, you are going to destroy one of your cards, but maybe like they sent a goblin to you or something, and you're like, I'll just blow that up on my side and we can go from there. I think, again, that this card is very, very cool. And again, I don't think it breaks anything. I think it's a fair card that's very strong. All right, so our keyword for next month is recruit. We are recruiting, that is the new Baron Zemo thing, where it takes a card from your opponent's hand, deck, whatever, and puts it on your side of the board. That keyword is recruit. It's been spoiled in the game. Our theme is comedy characters, because the deadline is April Fool's Day. That's not next Monday. That's the Monday after. The reason it's not next Monday, it's usually once a week, is, again, I'll be away. So we're going to do the 2-week window for this one. So please join. Check out Drewberry's Discord. And if you want to make your own custom cards, check snaptracker.me/custom. All right, our final deck is ParryMailow's Vampire Slayer. People keep asking me about this deck, so I had to feature it. Also, Parry's a freaking beast. We love ParryMailow. There's a live Snap tournament April 6th. Parry and Super Tech God are going to be there, so my ass is showing up if humanly possible. I've already started trying to make daycare plans for my kid and talking to my wife about it. But yeah, Parry's the MVP, and this deck is brilliant. So we're going to go over like the specific Doc and Dracula playlines, but you can play this just like normal ass discard without any real trouble, right? You can go Morbius into Colleen, or Dokken into Dracula into MODOK, right? And then just be totally freaking fine. You can even spend an extra turn and then do the MODOK on the last turn of the game, and then just have Dracula discard the Apocalypse and do that way too. It just works. But you also have like extra, even if you don't do silly Dokken shenanigans, right? If you drop a Ravona, right? Let's just say you drop a Ravona. The only real difference is you drop a Ravona. You can Zola on turn 5 and Zola that Dracula, and then you can MODOK on turn 6. And now you have 2 Draculas for those 2 Apocalypses, and that wins a lot of games of Snap. I lost 8 with this earlier, but outside of that, I had been dominating with it because my opponent dropped a. I didn't expect them to have it. I should have, but they dropped a Gambit into freaking Sinister London, and it sniped 2 of my 30+ power Dockens. So, guess what? But outside of that kind of nonsense, when it goes off, it goes off. You can find a Parry at twitch.tv/ParryMailow. Again, awesome person, fellow New Yorker. Got to show some love. You need Ravona, MODOK, and Dokken for this. You can try Magic for Supergiant. Supergiant is great. You can maybe try Invisible Woman. I prefer Magic. So this has won multiple Infinity Borders for Parry, at least 2, but I think more. And currently this is 2-0 in the Snap Judgments League. I want to feature the game, but Parry didn't put it in the damn drive. So otherwise, this would have been a game we talked about on Sunday. I'm hoping to get you some gameplay for this relatively soon. So turn 1 is passed. Turn 2, Ravona over Mobius. Turn 3, Dokken or Dracula alone. So far, so good. There's an argument, by the way, I'm going to go forward, that Swarm, because Swarm can occasionally be annoying for this deck, might just want to be Miek. Just a thought. Okay. Turn 2, Ravona or Mobius over Mobius. Turn 3, because when you play Ravona, Mobius costs 1. Turn 3, Dokken or Dracula alone. Please note, you can Gambit, but make sure that you don't have any of your combo pieces in hand if you're going to. Turn 4, if Zola is in hand, you drop Supergiant. If not, you drop Dracula. Turn 5, MODOK behind Supergiant or Zola on either Dracula or Dokken if you can. You can also just play a regular MODOK if you're doing the standard gameplay, remember. And then turn 6, Zola on Dracula or Dokken if you still have MODOK hidden. And you can drop Zola and Morbius on the last turn of the game, which is just bonkers power. And if you Zola'd on 5, you can MODOK or play Blade and Colleen, or Blade and Gambit, or Colleen and Gambit to try and get rid of some of your shards. And then you should win, because this deck works. Cool. All right, one last look at it. This is The standard discard lists have been winning a lot for me. I've had a lot of success with standard discard right now. I think this is the most fun version of discard, so I strongly urge you to check it out. All right, before we go, I want to talk to you about these two bundles. This is Adored Ones. Someone yesterday was like, "Hey, it's not fair. You're doing a disservice," and I'm not trying to be rude because I think the other bundle, the gold bundle, is one of the worst things they've ever given us and a gigantic ripoff. That was 97% value. This is literally 2 times the value for the money. Like, right? Like, gold doesn't come free. You're spending somewhere along the line to get your gold almost always. And if you're spent, like, this has literally over double value on yesterday's bundle. And it's still not great value for what they've given us in the past. This is only okay value. Part of the reason it's only okay value is while these variants are gorgeous, they are for cards that only really appear in Surfer decks. If these were, like, Series 3 cards that were harder to get, that, like, we really needed to work for, I'd be more inclined to suggest this, or Series 4 cards, like, really. But this is only decent value for 2 Series 3 cards that are just kind of fine cards. Cool. Good value. If you got $40 burning a hole in your pocket and you like the variants, buy it. You don't have to feel bad about it, but it's not like one of their best values. And this is basically the same value. Again, 5,000 credits, 1,500 gold. But this, you get 2 variants, boosters, and 2 avatars. For this one, you just get an emote. So I think what they're doing is they're testing how much value emotes have to people. I'm telling you, straight up, I've almost bought this 3 times. I don't want to blow $40 for an emote because I don't care about the credits or gold right now. I have 20,000 gold and 6,000 credits and 12 keys, 13 keys, 12 or 13 keys, and 70,000 collector's tokens. But I almost bought this because I want that emote. Because I can hit it and then press snap. And that seems adorable to me. That seems funny because it's so cute. But that's not really worth $40 to me. Again, decent value. If you like the emote more than you like the variants, feel free to get this. I would basically never buy both. Right? Like, that's, I don't know, $80 for 3,000 gold and 10,000 credits just doesn't seem like it's good enough. And that's a good way to tell that these bundles aren't really good enough, right? They're good, but they're not great. So if you're willing to spend, if you're like, look, if you got money burning a hole in your pocket, feel free. If not, this is 100% skippable stuff. Cool. All right, certain tiers of support come with, let's do that better. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. That's the $10 tier. If you're willing to join and check it out, check out patreon.com/snapjudgments. These people all did, and we're going to say thank you to Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, Father Newman. Do me a quick favor, time out, check out Father Newman on YouTube, doing great work. Good Dog Gamer, Inc., Jay Neverett, J.D. McDonaldinho, Akela Platano, Kirtix Lee, Koire, Casey H., Doku, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, J. Bussy, X-Force V, Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Models, our mod on the channel, Julio Antunes, my former student, Matt H., Mikey Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Pretty Chill, Sid Infinite, I believe, Seamus, Spike Jones, Two Ties, another of our mods and friends, the Pirate King Tucker, the Homie Min, and of course, Gunny T. There is no cat to bite me on this last slide, so we're safe. Thank you so much for watching. Know how much I appreciate you. Please, anyone who watches at all, but especially if you make it to the end of videos, if you're willing to, you're watching, hit that sub button. It's free for you and helps us a lot. If you'd like to go the extra mile to support us, any amount on the Patreon is absolutely beyond appreciated. Patreon.com/snapjudgments. We do our best to bring you not only the best, but the most and most consistent Marvel Snap content. See you tomorrow for another Snap Take, maybe 2. Maybe it'll just be an afternoon video for the OTA, and we'll put our decks in there. I'll let you know as soon as I do. Time. Don't let it slip away. Peace.